What's up, everybody? Week 15 of the NFL season's here. Last week, we did all right. Nothing special. Albert Pujols left. But guess what? The sun didn't shine this week, did it?
No, not really.
Okay, it was raining all week, but no earthquakes, no buildings. We're gonna be just fine. Albert, God sent you out there for a reason. Cha-ching. Unlike Tebow, who I believe. You, Albert, but I believe Tebow.
Yeah.
We're going to run down. We actually differ on a lot this week. I don't know what the hell. This was a tough week.
Yeah, a lot of in-between point spreads, 6-7 point range.
Yeah, straight up, I think we probably agree on more.
Yeah.
With these point spreads, I think you're going to see we're just totally all over the map. But we did hit a 5-team 6-point teaser parlay last week to break us even. Well, a little bit better than even. So,
they're up a little
bit. Anyway, let's get started. First of all, we had Atlanta, a 13.5 point favorite over Jacksonville. Jacksonville looked really good last week, but I think it was more their opponent. I think last week I said I did not like Tampa Bay at all. And,
they looked terrible.
They looked horrible. And when you have a running back like Maurice Jones-Drew, you're still going to be, I don't care what NFL team, you're still going to have a chance. Except this week, because I'm taking Atlanta. Atlanta's on that playoff push right now. Jacksonville is just looking to be respectable in this game, but I don't think they're going to be able to keep up at Atlanta. Now, if this was at Jacksonville and it was outside or something like that, I might get 13.5, take Jacksonville, but not at home, in a dome. Give me Matt Ryan and the Falcons.
Yeah, I'm taking Atlanta. I think, Blaine Gabbert, Mizzou guy, not going to happen this week. He's consistently about 50%, just enough to get by, but I just don't see him having a good game here. I like Atlanta to win this game going away.
Next up, another one we agree in, and then we'll start disagreeing here left and right. Dallas, a 6.5 point favorite at Tampa. After what I saw with Tampa last week, I don't care where they play. Dallas, it seems sometimes when they get on the road, they actually play a little bit better. They do have Miles Austin back. They blew that game last week against the Giants, I think. Look for him to rebound and cover the 6.5 point spread fairly easily.
Yeah, no DeMarco for Murray. We'll see how that changes the offense, but he has all his passing weapons. Tampa Bay, enough said. I'm taking Dallas to cover 6.5.
Next up, we have the New York Giants at home, a 7-point favorite over Washington. Washington scored just a ton of points last week in a loss to the Patriots. With the Patriots defense, anybody can score. Give me the Giants in this game. Cover the 7 points. I don't look for Washington to repeat what they did last week offensively.
I'll say the same thing. I'll look for the Giants to repeat what they did. I'm just kidding.
It was Giants on the road last week.
I know. Giants,
week, so.
Big win for them. It was a must-win for them. Giants are going to win this game. I just like Washington. It's an interdivision game. Giants come off the big win at Dallas. A little bit of a letdown here. They have enough to win. I like Washington to cover 7 here.
Next up, we have Green Bay, 13.5 point favorite at Kansas City. Last week, we took a 10-point teaser against Green Bay to give Oakland 22 points to cover, and they didn't even cover that. That was our safe play. And thank you, Oakland, for screwing up my morning. I'm taking Green Bay to cover as 13.5. Kansas City, Green Bay, even without Greg Jennings, big deal. I really think they've still got 17 other receivers to throw to, and Aaron Rodgers is not going to miss them. So even at Kansas City, 13.5 points, throw them away, give me Green Bay, because they're just put on the gas, it seemed like last week, the whole damn game.
Yeah, Green Bay has so many weapons. Greg Jennings, losing him for 2 to 4 weeks might be a good thing. Get him ready for the playoffs.
Get him rested,
yeah. I like Green Bay here. Kansas City, so banged up. You got Palco, you've got Battle, as your starters. I just don't see him doing a lot here. I like Green Bay to cover.
Yeah, look for him. I don't know if they're going to be resting people down the road, or go for this perfect season. But hopefully they don't do it this week and they cover this pretty easily. Next up, we have New Orleans going to Minnesota, 6.5 point favorite for New Orleans. Since Minnesota plays in a dome, I look for New Orleans to go ahead and cover this. I don't see Minnesota being able to keep up with an offense like New Orleans.
Yeah, this is my lock of the week. I'm taking New Orleans to cover 6.5. Minnesota's pass defense is so bad. I look for New Orleans to just pick them apart. Minnesota's going to score some, but not enough to cover the spread here.
Next up, we got Chicago at home hosting Seattle. Seattle, if this game was in Seattle, I would see the 3.5 points being flip-flopped. But even that being said, Chicago at home, with the losses they've taken with Forte, Cutler, I look for Seattle to actually go in there and possibly win this game outright. I'm going to go ahead and take Seattle.
Yeah, I'm doing my upset pick on this one. I'm taking Seattle also. Chicago has a great defense. They just can't do anything on offense. Offense just, without the quarterback, running back, doesn't look the same. But the defense will keep them in games. But I like Seattle to win this game.
Yeah, and I think Marshawn Lynch in the last 4 weeks has rushed more than anybody. I think that's what I heard.
I think he scored a touchdown in the last 9 games.
Yeah, don't quote me on that one. I'm not really sure, but I thought I heard that Marshawn Lynch going into last week had more yards than anybody. So next up we have Buffalo against Miami at Buffalo. This is a pick'em game. Miami lost at home last week to Philadelphia. I look for them to rebound. Buffalo seems to be trending downward. And granted, Sperano got fired, and there might be a little bit of chaos going on in Miami, but still, I think the parts of their team are still better than the parts of Buffalo's team. So give me Miami in a pick'em game to win it.
Yeah, I'm taking Buffalo just because they're at home.
Yeah.
That and probably the weather's going to be a little more affected against Miami than Buffalo. So Buffalo home, I'm going to take Buffalo to win this one.
Next up, we have Houston at home, a 6-point favorite over Carolina. Houston's amazing what they're doing right now. With all the parts they've lost, their machine still keeps rolling. Being at home and against Carolina, I know Carolina puts up a lot of points, which, I wish this was like a 3-point spread, but it's not. But I'm still going to take Houston at home. Their third-string quarterback, Hinkie, or what is his name?
T.J. Yates.
T.J. Yates, whatever. I'm horrible with names, if you haven't found out. He's been able to manage the game enough to give them these wins. They still have Arian Foster. They still have their defense. Even though their defensive coordinator is going to miss this game, I think he's having some kind of surgery done. At first, I was a little iffy, but actually talked myself out of it. I'm going to go ahead and pick Houston to cover the 6 points.
Yeah, I like Houston to win this game. I like Carolina to cover the spread, though. Yates had a great game, 300 yards against Cincinnati. That's very good considering Cincinnati's defense. But it's one game. Carolina defense scares me. They give up a lot of points. Even though they put up points on the board, they give up a lot of points. I think Houston's still adjusting offensively what they're going to do with the pieces they're putting in. I like Carolina to cover the 6, not to win, but I like them to cover the 6 here.
Next up, we have Tennessee going to Indy. 6.5-point favorite for Tennessee. Go ahead and give me Tennessee. I like what they're doing on offense lately, and I don't like what Indy does at all. And even being at home,
anywhere,
any part of the game. 2 weeks ago, Orlovsky threw for like 350 yards. Had a really good game against Baltimore. Last week,
against New England.
Yeah, well, last week actually they did cover
against Baltimore.
I don't see this. Tennessee's, I think, still got that shot for the playoffs, so they're going to be pushing, and Indy's got that shot for the number 1 pick, and I think they're going to be pushing that way. Give me Tennessee.
I guess it'll be dependent. I'm taking Tennessee to cover here. I guess I believe Hasselbeck's going to play. He could have played last week.
I don't know. Even if Locker plays, I like Locker. He's looked better than Hasselbeck if you ask me.
I'm definitely going to take Tennessee to cover 6.5 here.
Yeah, they still got Chris Johnson who's trending upward.
Is that your word for the day?
Trending. Yeah, it is, I guess. Next up, we have Cincinnati hosting. Oh wait, I'm sorry. We have our St. Louis Rams hosting Cincinnati. Give me Cincinnati, 6.5 points. No problem.
Cincinnati. I mean, it's not even worth talking about. There's no.
Luckily, everybody should know after Monday night's game. Thanks to our Rams last week, we actually hit our five-team parlay. Thank you, Rams, for doing what we thought you'd do.
Mm-hmm.
If everybody watched Monday night, if you weren't watching wrestling, and you accidentally flipped over and caught that game last week against Seattle, you get to see what we get to see. We had. At one point, I don't know if you all saw this, we had 8 tries at the end zone from the 1-yard line, and it took us all fucking 8 times to get in.
It was the 9th time we finally scored.
They finally said, hey, Steven Jackson, here's the ball, after they tried every other possible way to get 1 yard. I mean, we're talking, this is a yard.
That's more than a yard.
Okay.
3 feet.
See, I'm even out of the screen. This is a yard. We had to get this far. It took us 9 plays to get this far in the end zone. That we've had to put up with that shit all year. And Sperano lost his job. Who else has lost his job? Somebody else lost their
Todd
job.
Haley.
Guy from Tampa Bay is supposedly losing his job next week. And the only guy that seems to have the most security is the guy that has had the worst record in 2.5 years. So.
St. Louis is 29-80 since 2005.
But if you watch Monday night, that's what we get to see every week. It's
Every week.
Yeah.
And Bradford's not playing. He's in a boot again. I'm assuming Kellen Clem is going to play. Take Cincinnati.
That's our little spiel. Say we have to put up with this shit every week, so you guys are going to put up with it for a few minutes.
Yeah.
Next up.
We should start putting clips of the Rams game on here just so they can see what we have to see.
Oh, next up we have Detroit, a 1-point favorite at Oakland. Oakland Carson Palmer showed up last week, and that's what we were thinking we'd see. He was actually playing fairly well, I thought, up till last week, and they couldn't even cover they couldn't even cover anything in that building last week. Give me Detroit to go ahead and win this game. I actually think Kevin Smith is playing, from what I heard just a few minutes ago. Give me Detroit to cover the 1.
What can Sue do for you?
Oh, yeah, he's going to be pissed.
Yeah, I like Detroit here. Oakland's had a good stretch. I think it's going to be a good game. I just like Detroit. This is a playoff push for them. I like Detroit.
Next up, we have New England going to Denver. 6.5-point favorite. I don't think that's any problem at all from my boy Tebow now and Tebow's defense. It's their defense that's going to keep them in this game. New England's defense last week looked like shit. I don't care who's quarterback in the Denver Broncos. They're going to score enough points to keep them within the 6.5 points. So give me Denver to cover.
I'm going to take New England. Ever since you interviewed Tebow, you're just like...
Yeah, he didn't cover, but he's an underdog.
Even against his religion, you're kissing his ass. I'm taking New England. I think, Brady did not have a great game last week, but yet they still look good. I look for Brady to finally have a good game. I think you said Doomerville may not play this week.
Possibility. Now that's going to affect a lot.
Yeah, it really comes down to Denver's defense. I look for New England to be able to move the ball and score at will. So I'm taking New England to cover 6.5.
I just think Denver's defense can be good enough to keep them in check. Now, I'm saying, when I say in check, I mean like 28 points. But I still think, maybe Denver can score 24 against New England's defense is horrible.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they look like crap. I mean, it was literally a basketball game. Like, it was back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. It's like, that was one of our parlays last week in that freaking New England.
Yeah.
Anyway, next up we have Philadelphia, a 3-point favorite. The New York Jets are going to Philadelphia. Philadelphia's a 3-point favorite. I actually had Philadelphia, and then I crossed it out, and then I put it back on Philadelphia again. With Mike Vick back, I do think they're a different team. It looked like he was fairly healthy last week. The Jets are going to be on the road. Give me Philadelphia to cover the 3 points, and it's just because it's at Philadelphia.
Yeah, I'm going to take Philadelphia too. They looked a lot better last week at Miami. Miami's not, granted they're 4-9, but they've been playing really well considering they started 0-7. I think Philadelphia's starting to get in the groove a little bit. I think it's going to be a good game, but I like Philadelphia at home to cover 3.
Next up, we have the Arizona Cardinals at home, a 6.5-point favorite over Cleveland. Since this game is at Arizona, this seemed to be really tough. I mean, showing it last week against San Francisco, even with losing Kevin Cobb and bringing in Skelton in that game, San Francisco, fell flat. And I really just think it seems like when Arizona gets at home, they play a lot better. So go ahead and give me Arizona to cover the 6.5 points over Cleveland. Cleveland just hasn't shown me much, and I think McCoy was knocked a little goofy.
And McCoy was knocked down, but they went to Pittsburgh and lost 14-3. They've been in a lot of close games. Their offense is not good, but the defense for Cleveland keeps them in games. I mean, Arizona went to overtime against the Rams to beat them 19-13 at home.
Yeah.
So I'm going to take Cleveland to cover 6 points here, or 6.5 points at Arizona. I'm looking for a little bit of a letdown after that San Francisco game. So I'm going to take Cleveland.
And I think Beanie Wells, I think there was a question mark if he's going to play. I think I heard like a few minutes ago that he wasn't going to be able to make it, but still. I just think Arizona, they're a little bit different team at home. Cleveland just... Anyway, we got Baltimore, 2.5-point favorite at San Diego. San Diego's been playing a lot better lately. Baltimore going on the road. I think it's going to be a little bit tough to go all the way to the West Coast and play this game. Give me San Diego to cover 2.5 points and possibly win this game. I just don't like Baltimore on the road in this situation.
Yeah, they've looked really shaky on the road. Lost at Jacksonville, lost at Seattle. Although Seattle's starting to play well. San Diego, Phillip Rivers, 24-2 in the month of December and January. I'm going to take San Diego to cover 2.5 here.
Yeah, and with the Dirty Trombones being out of the playoffs and sitting on the sidelines and watching this week, Vincent Jackson will probably had the best day of his career. Screw you, Vincent Jackson. You're 4 points every other week. He's had 3 weeks.
You're always going to get one mention of his team just so he can put that
The
sound.
Dirty Trombones went down to
There it
Flames,
is again.
and that was part of because Vincent Jackson every week had 4 freaking points, and then like once in a blue moon he popped a 30. You know, he's supposedly the number 1 receiver. Bullshit.
Yeah.
Next up, we have the Monday night game. San Francisco's at home over Pittsburgh, which I'll be honest with you, this is going to be one of those games where I wouldn't touch with a 10-foot pole. I could see this going any other way. I could see a Pittsburgh win, but with the injuries, with Ben Roethlisberger's ankle, I think this is going to give this a slight advantage to San Francisco. Give me San Francisco at home on a Monday night. Pittsburgh is just a little banged up for me, and I don't think they're going to be able to. It's the same thing going to the West Coast. I think it's going to be a little bit tougher. San Francisco is going to be PO'd after that loss to Arizona. Even though they're in the driver's seat in their division, give me San Francisco to still win this game and cover the 3 points.
Yeah, you've got to expect some type of bounce back for San Francisco in this game. The thing that concerns me with San Francisco is not their defense, it's their offense, and what the offense can do. And you're going against a Pittsburgh defense. Now, granted, you have no James Harrison. I think he's suspended for 1 game. Roethlisberger says it feels better. Didn't practice today, but he probably will play, especially he's got an extra day of rest. It's hard for me to go against Pittsburgh. So I'm going to take Pittsburgh to cover 3. I look for a somewhat relatively low-scoring game, a defensive struggle. So I'm going to take Pittsburgh to cover 3. I won't be surprised if San Francisco wins by 1 or 2, but at 3 points, more than 3 points, I can't give them.
That should do it. Thursday night, we got Atlanta, probably going to lose to Jacksonville now that we both picked Atlanta.
Yeah, we both picked them right.
The way our Thursday nights go, but if it happens, there's something wrong.
I'm seriously just going to take the opposite of what I think from now on.
Exactly. But anyway, we'll see how we did. We'll see you guys next week.
Take care.
Peace.